Switzerland has no oil, no access to the sea, very few natural resources, and most of the country is covered by mountains. Yet this small nation became one of the richest places on earth. It built some of the world's largest banks and pharmaceutical companies, and achieved a standard of living that almost every other country dreams of. But how did an isolated mountain nation with so few natural resources become so incredibly wealthy? The answer has everything to do with war, money, neutrality, and a series of smart decisions that changed Switzerland forever. To understand Switzerland's incredible wealth, we have to go back hundreds of years. For most of its history, Switzerland was not an obvious candidate for prosperity. Its rugged mountains limited farming, trade, and expansion. It lacked the population, territory, and military power of Europe's great empires. By every measure, Switzerland should have remained a small and relatively poor mountain nation. But instead of seeing those limitations as obstacles, the Swiss turned them into opportunities. Rather than building an empire through conquest, they built one through stability, skilled craftsmanship, international trade, and trust. Over the centuries, those choices transformed a collection of isolated mountain regions into one of the safest and most valuable places on earth to store wealth, build global businesses, and invest for the future. Switzerland's wealth did not come from what lay beneath its soil. It came from the system it built above it. And that system would eventually change the global economy forever. At the heart of Switzerland's rise was an idea that gradually reshaped its future: neutrality. As Europe was repeatedly torn apart by wars, revolutions, and shifting borders, Switzerland chose a different path. In 1815, the major European powers formally recognized its permanent neutrality. That gave Switzerland something increasingly rare: stability. While fortunes disappeared and governments collapsed elsewhere, Switzerland became a place where contracts were respected, institutions endured, and wealth could survive political chaos. Merchants traded there. Companies invested there. Wealthy families moved their money there. And over time, Switzerland transformed its greatest limitation into its greatest advantage. It had little oil, coal, or mineral wealth to export. So instead, it exported something far more valuable: trust. That trust became the foundation of Switzerland's banks, global businesses, and international influence. But trust alone doesn't create enormous wealth. The next step would make Switzerland one of the financial capitals of the world. By the late 19th century, Switzerland's reputation for stability was beginning to reshape its entire economy. Investors, entrepreneurs, and wealthy families increasingly viewed the country as one of the safest places in the world to preserve their fortunes. Swiss banks offered far more than secure vaults. They offered political stability, financial expertise, and the confidence that wealth could be protected across generations. Then, in 1934, Switzerland strengthened that reputation even further. A new federal banking law made it a criminal offense for bank employees to disclose confidential client information without authorization. Privacy was no longer just a tradition. It was protected by law. Money flowed into Switzerland from across Europe and beyond, transforming its financial sector into one of the most influential in the world. But secret bank accounts alone did not make Switzerland rich. That is the myth. The real advantage was confidence. Clients believed Swiss institutions would remain stable when governments fell, currencies collapsed, and borders changed. And once Switzerland became the place where the world stored its wealth, it gained something even more valuable than money. It gained the capital to build world-leading companies, industries, and technologies. The next chapter of Switzerland's success would prove that its greatest export was never banking, it was innovation. By the second half of the 20th century, Switzerland had become something far greater than the world's bank. Its capital, political stability, and highly skilled workforce helped create some of the most advanced industries on Earth. Swiss companies never tried to compete by producing the cheapest products. Instead, they competed on precision, innovation, and quality. They focused on building products that few other countries could match. Pharmaceutical giants like Roche and Novartis became global leaders in medicine, developing life-saving treatments used by millions of people around the world. Nestlé grew into the world's largest food and beverage company, selling products in almost every country on Earth. Swiss manufacturers earned an international reputation for luxury watches, precision engineering, medical technology, and highly specialized industrial machinery. None of this happened by accident. Switzerland invested heavily in education, scientific research, apprenticeships, and technical training. Instead of relying on cheap labor or mass production, it invested in highly skilled people capable of creating products with exceptional value. A Swiss product did not need to be the cheapest. It needed to be the most reliable, the most precise, or the most difficult to replace. That strategy created a powerful cycle. Skilled workers built world-class companies. Successful companies attracted investment. And that investment financed the next generation of research, technology, and innovation. Switzerland had discovered a resource more renewable than oil, more valuable than gold, and impossible for any nation to simply dig out of the ground: human expertise. But Switzerland's greatest achievement wasn't its banks, or even its companies. It was the system that allowed all of them to thrive. Looking back, it is tempting to believe Switzerland became rich because of its banks. But banking was only one part of a much larger system. Long before Switzerland became a financial center, it had begun building the foundations that would make its success possible: political stability, reliable institutions, skilled craftsmanship, education, innovation, and a reputation for honoring agreements. Those strengths attracted capital. Capital helped businesses grow. Successful businesses created advanced industries. And those industries generated the wealth needed to finance new skills, research, and innovation. Over time, each part reinforced the others. Switzerland's prosperity was not created by one law, one industry, or one historical decision. It emerged from a system built across generations. A system that rewarded long-term planning, specialized knowledge, institutional reliability, and constant improvement. Today, Switzerland remains one of the world's wealthiest and most innovative economies. Not because it began with every possible advantage, but because it learned how to turn its disadvantages into strengths. In the end, Switzerland's most valuable resource was never buried beneath its mountains. It was built in its schools, workshops, laboratories, companies, and institutions. And unlike oil or gold, that resource could renew itself with every generation.